Hello, everybody. My name is Lauren. I am a CACRAO volunteer for this session. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for All North Carolina and South Carolina students, sponsored by the Carolinas Association of College Registrars and Admissions Officers and Strasgan. Thanks for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before our panelists get started. You can use the Q&A button anytime during the presentation. Your camera and microphone are turned off, so panelists cannot see or hear you. This is one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out more sessions and recordings on the CACRAO website. That's CACRAO.org. Now, I'd like to turn it over to our presenters.
All right.
Fantastic. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Keith Doucette. I'm one of the regional admissions counselors here at St. Andrews University, and we have a whole host of people here that are very excited to meet you and to help you out with exploring St. Andrews University as part of your college search process. First person I want to introduce is our Vice President of Enrollment, and that is Mr. Brian Stanley. Welcome, Brian.
Hello there. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's nice to have you all with us. St. Andrews University, it's a big day at the university. Why? Because 59 years ago today, we had our first group of students walk on to our campus here in Laurinburg, North Carolina. So how exciting to see a little bit about our history and where we're from. But we have a long tradition of history before that. We date back to 1896 with Flora McDonald and, of course, the Presbyterian Junior College, and now what is formed as St. Andrews University to form those traditions over the years. And I noticed on our social media, we have some great posts from alumni saying they were physically in the picture that we posted 59 years ago. So really a nice rich history here at the university. So again, thanks for joining us. A couple of other things too is our community at St. Andrews is really alive and well. We're having classes here on campus. Our students are getting exposed or getting an opportunity to meet students from around the world. And what does that mean is we have students, of course, represented from North Carolina, South Carolina, where most of you are from, but we have students from around 25 different countries as well. Japan is our largest group of international students on our campus. We also have a large group from Brazil, and then tied in third place where students are from is Italy, United Kingdom, as well as from Spain. So that's a little bit about where our globalization piece comes into play. What does that mean to you is that you're going to be sitting in classes with students from these different countries and learning about their culture and about their experiences. So pretty cool to be part of that. Also our community here on campus. We teach, again, as I mentioned, classes here at the campus, and the great thing is every one of you are going to have an academic advisor. That academic advisor, part of our community, is they're giving you a chance to figure out what it is you want to do and what classes. But what that community does for you here at campus is it gets you connected from day one with the faculty member who you will have in class. So it's really one thing that sets us apart with our community for sure. And the last piece of that pillar of St. Andrews that I think is important is experience. You heard me talk about the students from different countries and learning about their cultures and partnering in our community with our faculty and with other students here at the campus. One of the things as you walk out of here, you'll have a chance to hopefully have had an internship. This past summer, we had a large group of students doing internships. Hopefully you'll have an opportunity at some point to do study abroad. We partner over in Brunenburg, Italy, every 2 years to give our students that experience of traveling abroad. And again, that experience, those key things with that will allow you to go out and share those experiences with employers to land that first position. So those are just a couple of quick highlights that set us apart, the pillars that set us apart. I'm going to turn it back over to Keith, but I just wanted to say hello. We're so glad you were able to join us. I hope to get to meet you, first of all, in person on our campus. And number two, if you can't get here anytime soon, I hope you decide to apply, because once you get accepted, I'm going to call you and let you know that information. So look forward to meeting you on the phone, but also in person at our campus. So Keith, I'll turn it back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Vice President Stanley. As I mentioned earlier, we have a whole host of people. You're going to get a chance to hear from one of our faculty members, Professor McDavid. You're going to get to hear from one of our coaches, Coach Nick Soto. You're going to get to hear from a current student about their experience and how they landed at St. Andrews. You're also going to hear from a number of members of our admissions team. But at St. Andrews, we are the home of the Knights. So you can see our Knight head here. And I'm just going to go over some key tidbits and facts about St. Andrews. We're going to start off with where we are located. If you're not familiar, St. Andrews University is located in Laurinburg, North Carolina. If you're never been to Laurinburg, North Carolina, it is a fantastic small town. You get that small town community, that really close-knit feel. But what that does, it also puts us about 2 hours to the east of Charlotte. So we have large metropolitan areas not too far away. We're about an hour and 45 minutes south of the Raleigh-Durham area. But we're also not too far away from the beach. We're less than 2 hours from the beaches of North Carolina, Wilmington, as well as Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And we're not too far away from the mountains. So we like to say we're a couple of hours from just about everything. And that gives our students this great small town community, but with easy access to so many different things. Our campus is located right around a lake. We have a 200+ acre lake-centered campus. So if any of you guys like to fish, like nature, it's very peaceful. This is great because it allows you to focus in on your studies, enjoy nature. In addition to our main campus, about 2 miles away, we have a 300+ acre equestrian center. So for any of you equestrians, or if anyone happens to just have an interest in horses or would like to try riding for the first time, we have over 100 university-owned horses out at this wonderful facility. Now, who makes up our campus is our students, our faculty, our staff, and that community is extremely important to us. And as Vice President Stanley mentioned, it is very diverse. We value that global aspect. So our students have the ability to learn from people who think and have very different cultures from them, and think about the importance of that throughout your education and how that can be a benefit afterwards. So whether that's on the field, in the classroom, on the court, being able to learn from people that may speak different languages, that may have different viewpoints, may practice different religions, and how that can be such a big benefit for you as a student. Now, our class sizes are small. That is a benefit, especially right now, given the pandemic. Our small class sizes are a benefit to us. It allows our students to spread out. Some of our classes take place outside. But really what the small class size means is it's a lot of interaction with other students, but with the faculty. So that's something that is of great value. Here you can actually see Professor McDavid in action. So that brings us to, what are our students studying? At St. Andrews, we offer 22 different majors and 22 different minors. And so we have a large array of different options. Some of you guys may be thinking, I know exactly what I want to study, and others, you may be thinking, I'm in between this, I'm in between that. Our liberal arts background gives our students a chance to really kind of feel around, do that with some support of faculty and one-on-one advisement. Some of our most popular degree programs at St. Andrews are our business program. We did just recently add a specialization in our business program in criminal justice management. Our education program, we did also also add something there. We have a secondary education, 9 through 12 licensure. And then we added something to our sciences. We've always been strong in the life sciences, but recently we added a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree. So those are some of our recent ones to go along with sports performance, health, and fitness. And we have some great pre-professional programs as well. With that education comes that one-on-one academic and career counseling. You know, obviously the goal of college is to get prepared for that career, that vocation. And so to have somebody who can actually assist you planning for that next step once you actually get close to graduation, resume writing, interview training, help with maybe finding that perfect internship. That's what our career and vocational department is really geared toward to do. Now, some of you guys may be thinking, hey, I'd love to incorporate athletics into my college experience. We have 27 varsity intercollegiate athletic programs. We recently added last year an esports program, and just this year we added 2 new women's sports, women's beach volleyball and women's wrestling. So whether it's on the field or on the court, again, students are student athletes, so they have that opportunity to focus on their academics, but also through the NAIA competition, actually compete on doing something that they love to do and have that as part of their experience. Recently, we were named a 5-star institution by the NAIA, Champions of Character, and we really value that our students are involved in the community and on campus. Outside of athletics, we have over 20 clubs and organizations, so students can be active. And these clubs and organizations are a great way to build leadership skills and experience, whether that's our Student Government Association, whether that's the International Club, whether that's the Pre-Vet Club, or some of our other equestrian clubs. And that brings me to equestrian. Our equestrian program does support 3 intercollegiate equestrian teams, and I'm actually going to dive a little bit deeper into that right now. So for those of you guys who are interested in horses, again, here's a picture, another image of our great equestrian center, something that we're extremely proud of. There's lots of spaces out there for riding and instruction, as well as education. When it comes to competitive riding, we actually have an IHSA hunter seat team. We have an international and IDA, International Dressage Association team, and we have a Western team. We have some students who come to college with their horses. We do have some limited opportunities for boarding at our equestrian center for our competitive riders. But as I mentioned earlier, we also have some opportunities for students that just want to dive in and maybe get comfortable on a horse for the very first time, or maybe even just come out and be around the horses. They can be very relaxing. So at St. Andrews, our equestrian program allows our students to get involved on campus as well as off campus through intercollegiate competitions, but we also offer some academic programs. We have degree programs in equine business management as part of our business program. We have an equine science degree that's part of our biology program. That can be paired great with our pre-vet program. We do have a veterinarian in residence, Dr. Killam, who can really help students with getting that next step towards going on to graduate school and vet school, whether it's with horses, whether it's with other large animals, or even small animals. And so our equestrian program is something that is very near and dear to us, and we do invite all of you guys to come ride with us. Now I'm going to actually pitch it over to my colleague, Miss Shannon Valry, who's actually going to share with you guys a little bit more about some of our athletic opportunities.
Well, hello there, everyone, and I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. I know for you, I'm glad others are excited that some of our sports are taking place, but then we're still waiting for some of those other sports that we're so excited about, getting crazy about when we're actually participating and just kind of being a part of the cheer team for that. But I want to share some of the things about St. Andrews becoming a student athlete here. One of the first things that you actually need to do is complete your application. That's your first step. Not sure what happens, but it looks like I keep is actually there's a survey or a questionnaire that you actually need to complete. So it's called the recruitment form. It's actually listed on our site. So that's the first step so that the athletes or the coaches can actually see what you're interested in. And then the coaches can actually come out and reach out to you. And the most important thing is you actually need to reach out to the coaches because they won't be aware of who you are until you tell them, introduce yourself, and not always by text. They actually want to talk to you and actually learn who you are. Our athletic director is actually Elizabeth Burris. Her information is available for you to be able to reach her. Be available to communicate. Super important because they want to know who you are, not who you're texting. Have film available. Make sure that you can actually go to any of the recruiting sites at the bottom, Huddle, Premax, Captain U, any of those, and just their bio or a documentary. They need something really sweet and short. So basically they can see who you are, and they don't only want the phenomenal highlights, they need to see areas where they actually need you to improve in as well. So those are some important things that I would like you to remember when you're actually looking at schools. We're actually a part of NAIA. So if you can remember that, I would appreciate that you guys actually take a look at St. Andrews.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shannon. We're going to actually skip on over and kind of talk about some of the next steps. You know, for those of you guys who are thinking about, let's see, let's get back here. There we go. Where you might want to apply and thinking about the admissions process. For us at St. Andrews, we have a couple of different ways that you can apply. We have our online application, and we'll actually have some links to allow you guys to get right there if you're interested. We'll put those up just a little bit later. We also are a member of the Common App. So if you're applying to multiple schools that are using the Common App, that can be a great way to do that. Once you have your application in, another key element that we're going to need to complete your application is your high school transcripts. So this is where you need to reach out to your guidance office, your guidance counselor. Some of your high schools may have completely digitized systems where you can just go in and easily request your transcripts to be sent over. Some of you guys may need to fill out a request form. So check in with your guidance counselor. When you start completing your applications, you're going to want to request that all of your transcripts get sent over to the schools that you're applying to. We need those to be able to make an admissions decision. And then your test scores. Right now, St. Andrews University is test optional for the fall of 2021. That given with the pandemic going on in COVID-19. We will accept your test scores for sure. That can be a part of your application, so don't hesitate if you have taken those tests and you want to send them. But if you've had trouble taking the exams, or you took it and you were planning to take it again or multiple times and you're really struggling to do that, do not worry. We are not going to require the test scores at this point in time for the fall of 2021 or the spring of next year for those of you guys who might be graduating early. Another key element of the application process is starting to think about how you're going to afford and pay for college. There's a lot of elements to the financial aid process. So I actually want to bring in another one of my colleagues, Miss Denise Bradley, and she is going to share a little bit more about the FAFSA scholarships and all the good stuff that can help you pay for school.
Hey everybody, and thank you. I'm happy to be here to talk a little bit about financial aid and scholarships. Big subject, little bit of time, so get ready, here we go. We're going to talk about the FAFSA real quick, then we're going to cover some SAU, some St. Andrews institutional scholarships, and then we'll look at all those scholarships that are out there for you in the private world. So as far as the FAFSA goes, the very first thing that you want to do is have Keith slip that slide over there for me, and we're going to fill out the FAFSA. That is the free application for federal student aid. This is the very first step and also the most important because it will determine some of your scholarships and many other things. But the main purpose of it is to determine what kind of federal financial aid you will receive. That could be in the form of grants, scholarships, federal loans, or even work study. So where do you fill them out? You have to go to fasfa.ed at .gov. It's there on the screen. And be sure when you're filling out your FAFSA that you include St. Andrews FAFSA code, and that's 001540. So include us on there, because once we receive your financial aid, then we can start the process of talking to you about the financials of your attendance at the school. You can start with the FAFSA as early as October 1st. That's coming up real quick. So start getting your things together. You're going to need some information from your parents' tax returns, as well as your tax returns if you worked and filed last year. And then you want to get that FAFSA process moving as quickly as possible. The next thing we're going to talk about here real quick is the St. Andrews scholarships. Now, we have scholarships that cover a wide array of things. They start with our basic academic scholarships and athletic scholarships, which will be issued by your coaches. And then we go into everything, even a bagpipe scholarship. If you are a musician and interested in the bagpipe, our pipe and drum band would be happy to talk to you and help you get that bagpipe scholarship. The theater and many other arts programs on there for scholarships. So start putting your portfolios together and make sure that you're talking to your financial advisors, who I'm going to introduce you to in a few minutes. Also, you might want to look at what programs you participate in high school, because if you're participating in DECA, HOSA, 4-H, and things like that, that also may help you to get a scholarship here at St. Andrews University. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the private scholarships that are out there. So what types of scholarships are out there? Everything. There's a scholarship for absolutely everything out there. Are you a chocolate lover? Well, there's a scholarship out there for you. The ice cream lovers scholarship this year asks you to write an essay about what flavor you would be and why. How exciting would that be? Well, a lot of fun, right? So there's scholarships out there for everyone. And yes, you do qualify. Where can you find them? You can find them in a great many places. I'm going to give you two of my favorite resources just as a real quick. Fastweb.com. Fastweb goes out and does a search on the internet every single day for scholarships that you would apply to. So you can fill out one application form there, and they'll do a search for you every single day and notify you of what's out there. How about collegeboard.org? Do you recognize that? That's where you register to take the SAT, and they have one of the largest databases for outside or independent scholarships. So check out collegeboard.org as well. And so how do you get them? Well, that's pretty simple, actually. The only thing you have to do is apply. You have to apply for scholarships in order to get them. So I know it sounds silly, but the more applications you put out, the more likely you are to pull them in. So be sure that you're applying for scholarships and everyone that's possibly there. We often host financial aid and scholarship search workshops. You need to keep an eye on our website and our social media pages, because we'll be announcing those as they come up, and feel free to join us. We're going to get into a lot more detail on the search in those programs as well. So let me introduce you to some really important people on the St. Andrews campus. We call them our dream team, our financial aid team here. And that is Dawn and Ashley and Sean. And one of the really great things about working and applying to St. Andrews is that we're going to offer you individual kind of care when it comes to financial aid. One of these ladies is going to pick you up, and she's going to walk you all the way through this daunting process. And yes, financial aid can be very overwhelming, but the one thing I know is that our folks do a great job at getting you where you need to be on that. So please feel free to fill out the application and touch base with our financial aid folks, because they'd be happy to help you out. I'll give it back to Keith now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Denise. I'm going to get my presentation back to the right spot. But I do want to actually piggyback on our financial aid team and what Denise said about our upcoming events that can help you with the financial aid process. We are going to be hosting next Tuesday night at 6 p.m. These ladies will be involved in hosting a financial aid workshop called What the Pell. So please check our website and tune in for that. It can really be a good place to actually start to understand some of the terminology and the processes that go on in financial aid with any college or university. I also want to come back to this slide for a quick second, because when it comes to figuring out how to pay for school. Usually what happens is that students fill out the FAFSA and they see what they may qualify in federal student aid. Then they actually get notified about different scholarships that they may qualify for, institutional scholarships from the institutions that they've applied to. And then there's this gap sometimes, which I love this image because it shows that there is a gap. Sometimes that gap can be very scary. I'm sure if you're that person walking across that gap right there, it can be a little nerve-wracking. And so I think that's a great way to think about private scholarships. They can bridge that gap, but it's not easy to walk across that gap. It takes work, hard work. And that's what private scholarships, outside scholarships require you to do. If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to walk across that ledge, you can find ways to bridge that gap. So keep that in mind. It's a key part of how most people do pay for school. Now, at this point, I want to kind of recap before we get into our panel and introduce those people to you. Thinking about next steps. If you're interested in a college or university, you start to whittle down your list, you want to apply. So to apply to St. Andrews, we do have some QR codes down here. Submit your supplemental items. Earlier, I mentioned what those were. So your transcripts, if you have your test scores. And again, remember, we are test optional. You want to schedule a visit to campus. Right now, we do have opportunities to visit campus in person. We have a whole COVID-19 protocol that we follow with those on-campus visits, so everybody stays safe. But we also have opportunities to visit virtually. So if that works better for you and your family, or you want to start with a virtual visit and then possibly schedule an on-campus visit, we can actually make those things happen. The next thing is October 1st, completing your FAFSA. And then once you know, when you determine that, hey, this school is the right fit for me, St. Andrews is a place you visited, you've gotten your application, you've been accepted, Vice President Stanley has called you and congratulated you, then you want to confirm your enrollment. And that requires putting a refundable deposit down. That deposit would be refundable until May 1st of next year. So again, that kind of goes through the process. But right now, I think we're going to move on over and we're going to actually have Shannon introduce our panelists.
And so a little Andrews, let me introduce some of these people that actually help us to not only recruit, but advise our students and actually on to kind of share some information with you about Andrews. Awesome panelist. The number one person that I'm gonna say number one because all of them to us. But and one of our student athletes and Mr. Tim.
We had a little bit of a hard time hearing you, Shannon, there. So actually, I'm going to invite Professor Stephanie McDavid to actually come on and introduce herself here. Professor McDavid?
Hey everyone, I am so delighted to speak with you today. My name is Stephanie McDavid. I'm a professor of art here at St. Andrews, and one of my passions, of course, is teaching courses in studio art, art history, and our general education program. I'm also the director of academic advising, and I connect new students with faculty advisors, and I train and disseminate information to advisors throughout the academic year. I think the best way to describe what my role is and what the role of the institution is in the way of thinking about our academic program in four parts. There are four major facets of the academic program at St. Andrews. One is majors, and majors are going to give you the depth, without a doubt, to the content that you need. Keith has already shared a wonderful list of possibilities, the departments, the majors. I won't go through those again, but you do need to know that several departments take advantage of the opportunity to create something called contract majors, which are really cool. And of course, many of our students are on paths in pre-professional areas like pre-med and pre-law. You are welcome to join us knowing exactly what you want to do. Maybe you know your intended major immediately. But you're also welcome to join us as something like an explorer. Maybe you're not sure. Maybe you want to explore some possibilities. We welcome you. We will get you on the right track if you know what your major is immediately, and also if you want to explore a bit. You're also welcome to change your major. Say you come in thinking you want one thing and you get turned on. I was a biology major. I got turned on by art, and I made a change, and you might be one of those people too. Professors here are going to get to know you. We have a really interactive approach. We expect you to be engaged and active. We don't have graduate students teaching classes. You are the reason we are here. This is a teaching institution. That means you're the most important part of our learning experience. How about this? We know your name. We know your name, and we miss you when you are absent from class, and we know who you are. So that is how we approach and think about our day. Your majors or professors are going to expect things out of you. They're going to want you to be open-minded and receptive and participate every day and have hard work. We're wanting you to become something more than when you started with us, is a good way to say that. At the end of your 4 years, you're going to have the depth that you need to go to graduate school or to go to the job market. The second aspect of the academic program is breadth. We want you to have knowledge. That means experience some different disciplines. We want you to have skills. That is in writing and speaking and critical thinking. We want you to have values. We're going to do this 2 ways, and one of those ways is to have some shared common experience classes, like first-year experience and composition and human culture and thought in the sophomore year. And we're going to want you to have some breadth experiences: math, natural science, arts and aesthetics, humanities, and social science. Okay, so the third aspect is electives. We want you to study abroad. We want you to have internships. We want you to have a minor. We think a second major would be wonderful. Now, who in the world is going to lead you through this? That's our fourth aspect, and that's your academic advisor. I have the privilege of connecting you with one as soon as you get to the school here. And I'm going to connect you. They're going to be knowledgeable about the academic policies and the curriculum. They're going to help you find answers to problems you need. They're going to help you devise and create relationships with other faculty members. And they're going to help prepare in that first semester a 12 to 18 credit course schedule that kind of looks like this. 6 credits is general education, and that would be maybe a freshman year experience in your composition course. Another 6 credits would be your major, or what you think you might want to major in. Already from day one, you're taking courses that you think you want to major in or want to give it a try. And then the remainder of your 6 credits or so, 3 to 6, might be your breadth requirements, letting you explore. Maybe it's something you want to minor in. Maybe it's something you've always wanted to do, like play the guitar or take a business course. So the last step will be that at the end of that first year, you've declared a major, you're on your way, the faculty advisor is probably an advisor now in your field of study or your major, and they're going to continue helping you develop realistic goals, get a clear academic path. They're going to monitor your progress. And let me tell you, that is what we do best at St. Andrews, is develop that relationship and develop those kinds of things. So 4 steps. Number 1 is your major, depth. Number 2 is your breadth, general education requirements. 3, electives, opportunities to do other things. And 4, a great advisor who's going to lead the way and lead you through the process. Thank you so much. Consider us.
Thank you, Professor McDavid. And we'll have a quick moment for you guys if you want to start using the question and answer feature. If you have questions that you think Professor McDavid might be able to answer for you, go ahead and start putting those in there, but I want to introduce our next panelist who is actually on a break in between class and heading to practice, and that is Mr. Tim Aiken. Welcome, Tim.
How you doing, sir? My name is Timothy Aiken. I just kind of wanted to come in and speak to the potential incoming freshmen. I am a senior here at St. Andrews. I am from Covington, Georgia. I'm a business major, an RA, football player, SGA cabinet member, student union cabinet member. I do a lot of things on campus. I kind of just wanted to speak about St. Andrews for a moment and just tell you guys how this place can turn you into something that you weren't before. 4 years ago, I didn't think I would be sitting here talking to potential incoming freshmen about coming here at St. Andrews. And this place has kind of just like opened up so many doors for me. I don't know what more to say about St. Andrews besides that. It's just, this place has helped me grow into the person that I am today. Do you guys have any questions for me as far as, you know, what things St. Andrews has or what opportunities St. Andrews has for me? I would love to answer some.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tim. How did you, I got a quick question for you. How did you end up at St. Andrews? How did you land there out of all your options, especially all the way from Covington, Georgia to Laurinburg, North Carolina?
Well, funny, and it was kind of too far away. So I was starting to get discouraged. And I got a phone call from the offensive coordinator, Coach Harris, and he told me to come up on a visit. And when I got here, right away, I fell in love with just how big campus was, how spaced out everything was, and how much of a family this place felt like when I got here. My mom told me when we got back in the car to head home, she was like, I think this is the place for you to go, because everybody just seemed so welcoming. Everything was just so nice that I think you should go here.
Well, we have benefited greatly from you joining the family, and we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to some students who may be considering joining that family. If you could give one bit of advice to somebody going through the college search process, what would that be?
Really pay attention to what feels at home. A lot of people just want to go to those like big schools, but maybe a big school isn't for you. Maybe you need to go to a school that's kind of tight knit and like a family, so you don't get lost in the shuffle. You know, just I would say take that into consideration. Don't just try to jump and try to find the biggest party school or, you know, things of that nature. Look into what you think will benefit you.
Oh, that's great advice for sure. I don't see many questions coming in right now, but if anybody has a quick question for Tim, please feel free to put it in the Q&A session. Tim does have to run off to practice, and we want to make sure that Coach is not going to have him running laps for being late. So quickly get your questions and answers in. If not, Tim, we wish you a great practice. Go out there and work hard, and we do thank you for taking your time here today. I'm actually going to introduce our next panelist who works in our athletic department, and that is our men's and women's wrestling coach, Coach Nick Soto. Coach, are you there?
Yes, how's it going?
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Name is Nick Soto, coach men and women's wrestling. Super excited about the women's program. We just started that up. You know, there's a lot of cohesion between both programs, and you know, we just got back on the mat, so you know, we're excited and ready to get the season underway.
I'm sure every athlete is obviously that competition is what drives them. So getting prepared to hopefully get back into that, I'm sure is really motivating a lot of student athletes. What does it take to become a student athlete at St. Andrews? How do you go about your recruitment process, and how does that translate to some of the other coaches that you work with?
Yeah, so our wrestling specific recruiting process, you know, we definitely look through a lot of the brackets from state tournaments. We look through, you know, national tournament brackets. We reach out into our networks and you know, talk to a lot of coaches and stuff like that. Once we get a contact, you know, we usually like to touch base and, you know, just get to know you a little bit. The first question we ask is about grades. You know, we want to dial in on, you know, what do you want to study? You know, what do you want to do for a career and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that, you know, we're a good fit for you there. Secondly, you know, we'll talk wrestling. I could talk wrestling for probably, you know, forever. So, you know, and then we, you know, we like to see what, and I think this is common with a lot of coaches here. We like to see what you're looking for in a program, what you're looking for, you know, in a team and in a coaching staff and stuff like that. You know, I could say across the board from, you know, the administration to the students is there's a really good community aspect to the university itself. And then within your own team, there's a really good, you know, it's definitely a family feel. So, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, we're answering all your questions and stuff like that. And then, you know, we'll kind of get the ball rolling with admissions at that point. And then, you know, the rest kind of see where it goes.
Wonderful. You brought up a great point about the academic side of things. And that's obviously a huge part that students are coming to St. Andrews to be a student athlete if they're going to be involved in athletics. What are some of the support systems that teams have to allow them, again, with competition and travel? You know, how do they get some, what are some of the supports that they can reach out to?
Yeah, so they have EIs, which are educational instructors. So we have those on campus available for all the student athletes. We'll do study hall for about 6 hours a week with wrestling. That'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for about 2 hours each. Outside of that, you know, we're constantly checking with them on grades. We are, you know, we check their binders, check planners. Just making sure that they have a plan and you know, they're staying organized and stuff like that. If we are traveling and we're going to miss some class, we encourage every athlete to, you know, let their professor know a week in advance, get the work that they need, get the notes that they need and stuff like that. And then we'll also follow up with an email early that week and just, you know, just let everybody know, hey, we're going to be off campus and, you know, we're going to be competing. And then we'll have grade checks. I think we maintain pretty frequent communication with professors, and you know, just make sure that, hey, you know, the wrestlers are doing good in class. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it looks like you've had an opportunity for maybe some of your wrestlers to do some cross training, as I see that you have a spike ball set in the background there. So hopefully,
yep, those are for game days.
Well, I do want to say thanks to all of our panelists. We're getting close to the end of our time here. I do see that we may have a question coming in. Let me just check that. And what kind of programs do you have for international studies and how do they work? So maybe we can pass that over to Professor McDavid here to get that question answered.
We don't per se have an international studies major here, but we have so many of our programs that deal with these, with studies about international studies. For business example, for example, we have an international business course, and we certainly have trips abroad, but international studies as a major is not one that we offer. But we certainly have a faculty that are well traveled and have passions for traveling and have know about the world, and they bring that information to the classroom. They engage students in that material, and many of our students, because they are coming from international different places in the world, are bringing that information to the classroom. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you to Professor McDavid and Coach Soto and all of our panelists. We hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about St. Andrews. If it seems like a place that you think could be a good fit, you have all of our links to our scholarships, our visit, and our application. Just point your cell phone cameras there. I'm going to turn it back over to our panel moderator at this point, and she has some wrap up.
Thank you, guys. I definitely want you guys to encourage to learn more about St. Andrews even after this webinar. As my alma mater, I definitely recommend them. Thanks for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this is one of the many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at CACRAO, CACRAO.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as other sessions recordings at CACRAO.org. Thank you.